They found you. Not because you were sloppy, not because you talked, because there's no leaving MS-13. There is no retirement. There is no version of this story where you just walk away and start over somewhere quiet. You are 26 years old. You have been in for 12 years. You have done everything they asked. And for the last 8 months, you have been trying to disappear. This is how it went. Level 1. The Inn. You're 14 years old and invisible. Your mom works 2 jobs. You eat cereal for dinner 3 nights a week. At school, nobody knows your name. But on the corner, 2 blocks from your house, the MS-13 guys know everyone's name. They wear blue and white. They have money. When they walk down the street, people move. You don't ask to join. That's disrespectful. You just exist near them. You run to the store for cigarettes. You hold packages without asking what's inside. They call you Pato. It means look out. You stand on the corner for hours watching for police, watching for Barrio 18. You make nothing. You say nothing. You're being tested. 6 months later, Sneaky pulls you aside. You want in? You nod. Then comes the chequeo. 13 members form a circle in an alley. You have to survive 13 seconds of all of them at once. You can't fight back. You can't run. You can't make a sound. 1. Fist to the jaw. 2. Boot to the ribs. 5. You're on the ground. 8. You taste blood. 11. Your vision goes white. 13. It stops. Sneaky pulls you up and hugs you. Welcome, homeboy. They give you a name. Flaco. That name is your identity now. You still make nothing. But now you have something you have never had before. You belong somewhere. That feeling will cost you everything. Level 2. The Soldier. You're 16. You've been in for 2 years. Now you work. MS-13 controls the local drug trade. You're the middleman. Package behind the dumpster on 5th. Pick it up. Walk to the house on Maple. Knock twice. Hand it over. Leave. Don't look back. $200 a week. More than your mom makes in 3 days. You buy shoes. You buy a chain. You feel powerful for the first time in your life. But the risk is real. If police catch you with that package, you go to juvenile. MS-13 doesn't bail you out. You do your time. You keep your mouth shut. That's the rule. If you snitch, you die. They will find you anywhere. When the clique needs muscle, you show up. A store owner won't pay protection. You and 3 others walk in with bats. You smash the windows. You leave. Next week, the owner pays. A Barrio 18 member gets spotted in your territory. You grab a weapon. You go hunting. You find him. You do what you are told to do. That night, you sit in the bathroom for an hour with the water running. You don't tell anyone about that hour. You learn to not think about it. You get very good at not thinking about things. Level 3. The Veterano. You're 19, 5 years in, 18 months in country for assault. You sat in a cell and never said a word to the detectives. You came out and the clique threw you a party. Now you're a Veterano. Young soldiers work under you. They kick money up. You take your cut. You manage 3 blocks. You decide who stands where. You enforce discipline. If a younger member is skimming money, you correct him. Sometimes that's a conversation. Sometimes it's a beating. Sometimes he disappears and you don't ask where. You make $1,500 a week. Used Honda. Your own apartment. A girl named Carmen who doesn't ask questions because she already knows the answers. Life feels good. But something happened in county that you can't shake. Your cellmate was 47 years old. MS-13 in for life. He told you about his daughter. How she was 6 when he went in. How she's 23 now and won't return his calls. How he's going to die in a cell, and the last time he held her, she was small enough to sit on his knee. You think about the man more than you should. You start a thought you don't finish yet. What if? Level 4, the decision. You're 22. You've been shot once. You've been arrested 3 times. You watched 4 people you grew up with get buried before their 21st birthdays. The thought you didn't finish 2 years ago is finished now. You want out. Not witness protection, not snitching, just gone, quietly. Somewhere they can't find you. New city, new name, start over. You know what happens to people who try to leave. You've been part of what happens to people who try to leave. So you're smart about it. You stop drawing attention. You show up. You do what's asked. You keep your head down. But you start saving money separately, cash only, hidden in the floorboard of your car. You don't tell Carmen. You don't tell anyone. You start researching cities. Phoenix, Atlanta, cities big enough to disappear in. You look up what it takes to get a fake ID. You look up jobs that pay cash. You do all of this on a burner phone you bought at a gas station. You think you're being careful. You don't know that Sneaky, the man who brought you in 8 years ago, the man who hugged you in that alley, has been watching you for 3 weeks. Level 5, the plan. 8 months of saving, $14,000 in the floorboard. You tell Carmen you're going to visit a cousin in Houston. You tell your veteranos you'll be back in a week. You load 1 bag. You fill up the tank. You drive to Atlanta. You find a room in a boarding house. Pay cash. Fake name. You get a job washing dishes at a restaurant on Peach Street. The owner doesn't ask questions. You work doubles. You keep your head down. For 6 weeks, it almost works. You wake up one morning, and for about 30 seconds, you forget who you are. You're just a guy in Atlanta with a dishwashing job and a small room and nowhere to be. Then your phone rings. The burner phone. The one nobody has the number to. You stare at it for a long time. You answer. It's Sneaky. He says, "Come home, Flacco. We miss you." Then he tells you your mother's address, her work schedule, what time she gets off the bus on Thursdays. He says it gently, like he's just sharing information, like it's a casual conversation between old friends. He says, "We'll see you soon." Level 6, the leverage. You drive back. You have no choice. The Chequeo wasn't just an initiation. It was a demonstration. This is what we'll do to the people you love. Blood in, blood out doesn't mean just your blood. It means theirs too. You get back to Los Angeles on a Tuesday night. You go straight to Sneaky. He makes coffee. He doesn't mention Atlanta. Doesn't bring up the $14,000. Just talks about business, territory, who's been causing problems. At the end, he says, "We good?" You say, "We good." You drive home. Carmen is asleep. You sit in the kitchen until 4 a.m. You are not good. But you're alive. Your mother is alive. For now, that has to be enough. Level 7, the betrayal. 3 months later, you find out who sold you out. Not Sneaky, not a soldier, not an enemy. Carmen. You don't find out from her. You find out from a veterano who thought you already knew. Turns out the feds had approached Carmen 6 months before you left, offered her a deal. She told them nothing about the clique, but she told Sneaky about Atlanta, about the burner phone, about the floorboard money. She thought she was protecting you. She thought if Sneaky knew and brought you back quietly, it was better than the feds catching you. Better than you running and them sending people. Maybe she was right. Maybe she saved your life. You sit across from her at the kitchen table, and she tells you all of this, with her hands folded like she's confessing at church. She's crying. She says she didn't know what else to do. You look at her for a long time. You say nothing. You leave the apartment. You now have no one. Level 8, the test. A week later, Sneaky comes to you with a job. A man named Rodrigo, former MS-13, left 2 years ago, relocated to Long Island, cooperating with federal investigators. The FBI has him in a safe house, but he visits his sister every Sunday in Hempstead. Sneaky slides a photo across the table. You know what this is. This is not a job. This is a test. This is the clique asking, are you still ours? If you do it, you prove your loyalty. You stay alive. You go deeper in than you ever been. If you refuse, you become Rodrigo, a problem to be solved. You look at the photo. Rodrigo is 31 years old. He has the same tattoos you have. He made the same decision you made. He just got further than you did. You think about what he did to get out, who he talked to, what he gave up. You think about how far he got. You pick up the photo. Level 9. The end. There are only 3 ways out of MS-13. A coffin, a prison cell, or witness protection. Which means giving up everything and everyone you've ever known and living as a ghost for the rest of your life. You chose the third one. You called the FBI from a payphone at 2 a.m. on a Wednesday. You gave them sneaky. You gave them the regional leadership. You gave them names, routes, stash houses, the corrupt guard at the federal detention center who smuggles in phones. You gave them everything. 3 months later, 47 MS-13 members were indicted across 4 states. Sneaky got 35 years. The regional leader got life. You got a new name, a new city, a small apartment the government pays for, a handler who checks in once a month. You cannot contact Carmen. You cannot contact your mother, not directly. Your handler passes messages. Your mother knows you're alive. That's all she knows. You work at a warehouse. You wake up at 5 a.m. You go to work. You come home. You watch television. You sleep. You are 27 years old, and you are completely alone. Some nights you think about the man in the country cell, the one whose daughter won't return his calls, the one who's going to die in a cage. You used to think you understood his story. You didn't. Not until now. He lost everything by staying. You lost everything by leaving. Either way, MS-13 takes everything. The only difference is how.